So hello students, from our today's lecture we are going to start our new chapter in design of heat exchanger, which is shell and tube heat exchanger design, or we can say that the design of shell and tube heat exchanger. So let's start with the introduction. What is shell and tube heat exchanger? So it is most commonly used heat exchangers, as well as because it is most versatile type of heat exchanger. There are many applications of shell and tube heat exchanger, like in a power generation, in a petroleum refinery, in a chemical industry, as well as in a process industries. They are used as oil cooler or condenser, as well as a feed water heater. Now, what are the advantages of this shell and tube heat exchanger? Why they are widely used in most of the industries? So the first advantage is the shell and tube heat exchangers provide relatively large ratio of heat transfer area, volume and the weight. Second, it can be easily cleaned. Third advantage is of the great flexibility to meet almost any service requirement. Then it is reliable design methods and shop facilities are available for the shell and tube heat exchanger. Then it can be designed for high pressure relative to environment and high pressure difference between the fluid streams. So these are the advantages of the shell and tube heat exchanger. Now, what are the basic components of shell and tube heat exchanger? As you can see in this figure, this is the diagram of shell and tube heat exchanger. There are number of parts in shell and tube heat exchanger. The basic main parts are this shell, which is a cylindrical shell, and these are the tubes. So shell and tube heat exchanger, in a short form, it is STHX, which is built of round tubes. Here in this figure you can see that these are the round tubes mounted in a cylindrical shell. This black line, this dark black line border, which shows the cylinder, with the tubes parallel to the shell. These are the tubes which is parallel to this shell. Here one fluid is flow inside the tube. So here, as you can see, that the one fluid, either hot or cold, whichever is coming from this tube nozzle, will pass through these tubes. So one fluid flows inside the tubes, while the other fluid, which is coming from this nozzle, here you can see that whichever fluid which is coming from this nozzle is going to flow over the surface of the tube. So one fluid is going to pass from the tube, while the other fluid flows across and along the axis of heat exchanger. So the heat transfer between these two fluids take place at the surface of the tube, because one fluid is going to flow from the tube and one fluid is going to flow over the surface of the tube. So this is how heat transfer is going to take place in shell and tube heat exchanger. So the major component of the heat exchangers are tube bundles. As you can see, there are a number of tubes, which is generally known as the tube bundles. The shell, this is the outer portion, cylindrical portion. Front and head, this is the front and head, this is your head cover. This is horizontal buffel, which differentiate between these two parts, which differentiate shell into two parts. Then rear end head, this is the rear end. Buffels, these are the buffels, these are black colors plates are the buffels which guide the fluid within the shell to flow. And the tube sheets, these all tubes are attached to this tube sheet for the support. So these are the main component of the shell and tube heat exchanger. Now let's understand how shell and tube heat exchanger actually works from this video. So as we have discussed that one fluid is going to, either hot fluid or cold fluid is going to come from this tube nozzle and then flow from this tube, take a U-turn from this, and then going to exit from this portion. Okay, so from just a minute. Okay, from this video you can understand. Okay, so there is a one fluid, suppose cold fluid, which is going to take entry from this side. It is going to flow over the surface of the tube. These buffels are going to guide the fluid to flow in this direction and take exit from this nozzle. Okay, simultaneously at the same time, hot fluid is going to take entry from this nozzle. It is going to flow from inside these tubes, going to take a U-turn from this U-tube bend and going to exit from this nozzle. Now during this, what happens, there is going to be heat transfer between the cold fluid and hot fluid, because hot fluid is flowing from inside the tube and cold fluid is flow over the tube surfaces. So what really happens, simultaneously there is a flow of hot fluid and cold fluid in shell and tube heat exchanger, so results in heat transfer between them. So the outlet temperature of cold fluid is going to be higher than the inlet temperature, and outlet temperature of hot fluid is going to be lower than the inlet temperature of the hot fluid. So this is how heat transfer takes place in a shell and tube heat exchanger. Now let's understand, let's see how different components or different parts in shell and tube heat exchangers are arranged. So these are the tube bundles, we can say that number of tubes. This is a U-bend tubes which are supported by the tube sheet, okay, and separated by the buffels. So these are the, here you can see that these are the buffels, which the main purpose of this buffel is to provide the support to the tube sheet as well as to guide the shell side fluid to flow over the tube surface. There are a number of buffels which are going to attach to this tube sheets by this supporting rod. Now this is our support. This is tube sheet which is going to be attached. This is the portion, or we can say that this sheet is going to be differentiate between the head to the shell. These are the inlet nozzle and outlet nozzle. This is the tube sheet which support the tube bundles. This is the front end which is attached to the tube sheet from where one fluid is going to take entry, and this is the outlet nozzle. So this is how all the parts are attached in a shell and tube heat exchanger: front end, rear end, tube bundles, buffels and the nozzles. Okay, these are the different components of shell and tube heat exchanger. Now we are going to discuss all the components in detail. First, shell. There are number of different types of shells, and heat exchanger shells are manufactured in large range of the standard size materials and the thicknesses. Smaller size usually fabricated from the standard size pipes, and the larger size fabricated from the plate by rolling, okay, according to the customer requirement. So the cost of shell is much more than the cost of the tubes. Hence a designer tries to accommodate the required heat transfer surface in a one shell, because as the number of shell is going to increase, the overall installation and the fabrication cost of the heat exchanger is going to increase. Now there are different types of shell, but various front and rear head types and shell types have been standardized by the TEMA. What is TEMA? It is a Tabular Exchanger Manufacturers Association, which gives the standard size of head types as well as rear head and the front head as well as the shell types. So this table shows the standard size according to the TEMA. This column shows the front end stationary head types. This column shows the different shell types, which is generally denoted by the alphabets, and this column shows the rear end head types. So they are identified by the alphabetic character as shown in this column: E, F, G, H, I, J, K. And the standard shell types, front end and rear end head types, are shown in these columns. Now let's discuss the different shell types. So these are the different shell types which is suggested by the TEMA, which is E, F, G, H, J, K, X. Now let's discuss each shell type. First is a E type, which is one pass shell. Fluid takes entry from the inlet nozzle and going to exit from the outlet nozzle in a one pass, in a single pass. So the E shell is the most common due to its low cost and the simplicity. In this shell, the shell fluid enters at the one end from here, one end of the shell, and leaves at the other end, so that there is only one pass on this shell side. The tubes may have a single or multiple pass. The tube may have multiple or single pass, like in a U-bend, the fluid is going to take a two pass from entry to exit. So the tube may have single or multi passes, are supported by the transverse buffel. This shell is most common for the single phase shell fluid application. With a single tube pass, a nominal counterflow can be obtained. Because of the opposite direction of the both of the fluid, the counterflow arrangement can be obtained by the E shell type heat exchanger. Then next one is F. So the purpose of using F type shell is to increase the effective temperature difference, and hence the exchanger effectiveness. A pure counterflow arrangement is desirable. So for a two tube pass exchanger, So this is achieved by the F shell. So here you can achieve a two pass for the fluid. So you can achieve exact counter flow arrangement. So F shell is used for creating a counter flow arrangement with a longitudinal buffle. Here you can see that the longitudinal buffle is used to separate the two parts of the shell, so that the fluid is going to take a flow in a two parts, as we have just seen in a previous video that fluid is going to take a two pass, take entry from one point, going to flow through the total tubes, again going to take a U-turn and going to exit from the second part. So that was the F shell, which used the longitudinal buffle to separate the two parts of the front end, resulting in two shell passes. Okay, now it is used when unit in series are required, with each shell pass representing one unit. The pressure drop is much higher because it takes two pass than the pressure drop of a comparable to the E shell, because E shell create a single pass. So here you by using F shell, there is a two pass, so obviously the pressure drop as compared to E shell is going to be higher. The next one is a J type. So as you can see, in a J type there is a cross flow. The fluid is going to take entry from the two nozzles simultaneously and generate a cross flow, and going to take exit from this exit nozzle. So another type shells are J and X shell. So in the J type, in the divide flow J shell, fluid entry is certainly located and split into two parts. As you can see, the entry of fluid is going to be split into two parts. The single nozzle is at the midpoint of the tube. Here you can see that there is a single nozzle at the midpoint and two nozzles near the tube ends. There are the two nozzles at the tube ends. This shell is used for low pressure drop design applications such as condenser in a vacuum, since J shell has approximately 1/8 the pressure drop compared to the E shell. The next one is the X type. The X shell has certainly located fluid entry and outlet, usually with a distributed dome. Here you can see that the entry point and exit point at the midpoint of the shell here. Okay, so the two fluids are over the entire length of the tubes are in a cross flow arrangement. So due to this entry and exit point, the arrangement of both hot and cold fluid is like create a cross flow arrangement. Here no buffles are used in a shell type. Consequently, the pressure drop is extremely low. It is used for a vacuum condenser and low pressure gases. The next two shell types are, first one is G and then H. G is also known as the split flow. One a split tube, or we can say that the buffle is provided to split the fluid into two parts. So the split flow shells such as G and H shell are used for specific applications. The split flow G shell has horizontal buffle. Here you can see that this is a horizontal buffle with the end is removed. Here you can see that the end is removed for the flow of the fluid. The shell nozzle are 180° apart. Here you can see that the shell nozzles are 180° apart at the midpoint of the tubes. This is at the midpoint of the tube. The G shell has the same pressure drop as that of the E shell, but the LMTD factor F and hence the effectiveness are higher higher for the same surface area and the flow rates, because here you are going to create a split flow. So the pressure drop is same as the E shell, but due to the value of F factor and LMTD, you can achieve much higher effectiveness as compared to the E shell with same surface area. The G shell can be used for single phase flows, but is very often used as horizontal thermosiphon reboiler. In this case, the longitudinal buffle serves to prevent flashing. This buffle is going to prevent the flashing out of the lighter components of the shell fluids and provides increasing mixed flow. Now H shell has the same configuration, same as G, but what is the difference? The double split flow can be achieved in H type shell, similar to the G shell, but with the two outlet nozzle. Here in a G shell there is a one outlet nozzle. In a H shell it is going to be two outlet horizontal nozzles. Okay, then kettle type reboiler. So in a K shell, or we can say the kettle type shell is a kettle reboiler with the tube bundles in the bottom. Here what happens, the tube bundles are at the bottom, the upper portion is going to be remain without the tubes. So the bottom, which cover the 60% of the cell diameter, remaining 40% is going to be blank. for the steam. The liquid covers the tube bundle. The liquid which is going to be flow from the tube covers the tube bundle, and the vapor occupies the upper space. This upper space which is going to without tubes, the vapor is going to take place in this portion. The shell is used when a portion of stream needs to be vaporized, typically a distillation column. The feed liquid enters the shell at the nozzle here. The feed liquid is going to take entry at this point, at the nozzle near the tube sheet. This is the tube sheet. So the liquid portion is going to take entry from this nozzle. The nearly dry vapor exit out the top nozzle. Here the whichever vapor is going to be dry is going to take exit from this nozzle, and the non-vaporized liquid is going to, so this is a partition for collecting the non-vaporized liquid, which overflows the end weir and exit through the right hand nozzle from here. Okay, so these are the different types of shell which is used in shell and tube heat exchanger. E, F, G, H, J, X, which is a standard type of shell which is suggested by TEMA. Okay, so this is the first lecture of the shell and tube heat exchanger. In first lecture we have learned about the introduction of shell and tube heat exchanger. It is most versatile and mostly used in industry because of its simplicity. Whatever type of heat transfer rate can be achieved with a minimum pressure drop. There are different components of shell and tube heat exchanger which we have seen. The first is a different type of shells according to the standardization by the TEMA. So that's it for today. Thank you so much.